Howdy, Jamie.
Hi, Mr. Harris. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
I appreciate the time very much. I'm a big admirer of your work, so thank you so much.
Welcome. How's Movie Geeks going?
Movie Geeks is going very well. And speaking of geeking out on movies, I really liked yours. I thought it was incredibly intense and effective.
Good.
And I guess to start out with, I'm curious, when you read the script, what were the challenges associated with your character that most appealed to you?
Well, let's see. The challenges that were the most apparent to me were what the hell is he talking about half the time. And what appealed to me was his, this guy who has this kind of, this burden that he's carrying with him. Not only his dad having been this big shot in the, in terms of writing the book on Russian submarine warfare, but this incident that had happened earlier in his career that has affected him both physically and psychologically over the years, and professionally, and how he was dealing with that. I also appreciated his friendship with the character that William Fichtner played. But the main challenge to me was just I didn't really know anything about submarines, how they operated or anything. So doing my research along those lines and getting familiar with what I was talking about half the time.
Well, I would imagine that would be a challenge, and to learn kind of that technical lingo enough so that you feel comfortable enough. Yeah,
and you're confident that you know what you're saying and that it's appropriate for the situation.
Yeah. Well, you've done such beautiful honor to your profession with your work over the years, and so it's obvious that you know how to recognize a well-rounded character on the page. But for the layperson, how do you go about that? Is it looking at it and any question you have about your character is answered in the text? Is that how you recognize it?
Possibly, or if the unanswered questions are interesting ones that you are excited about filling in for yourself. It's really an instinctive kind of thing, I think, more or less. Plus a script can be a really good story and not be well written, and then you're going, this is a good story, but these words, nobody talks like this, or God, it's set up, it's structured poorly, or you know what I mean. So there's a lot of things going on when you're reading the script in terms of the feel of it and just how you can see it being translated onto the screen cinematically, and who the director is, and all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely. Because I always hear the phrase, it's the most important thing to ask the question and maybe not even know the answer, but as long as you ask the question. And I haven't always been 100% certain what exactly that means.
Well, I'm not either. I'm not sure what you're saying, but I think some questions need to be answered in terms of playing a character, for sure. But you have to know what questions to ask yourself to begin with, Yeah. My daughter's 19 years old, so let's say she's having a problem about something. Instead of giving her answers, maybe I'll ask her questions about what's going on with her, and she can think about them, answer them for herself if she cares to. So a director is more doing that, I think, with character than he is answering things. He's saying, here's a character, why is he this way? Or what, fill in the blanks here, what was his relationship with his father? What does he really feel about what happened when he had this accident and he had to sacrifice the lives of, a number of his crewmen? How does that affect him? Obviously, on the page, he's been affected by it and thinks about it, but internally, how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of hard to talk about, but
in terms of playing scenes and playing these moments, this is a very intense claustrophobic piece, and there are a lot of great scenes with your fellow actors. And movies, by their nature, are very kind of stop and start. You work on moments. Were you able to achieve kind of a rhythm where you were able to let a scene breathe and not so much stop and start?
Yeah. First of all, we were shooting. We shot the whole film in 21 days, so we were filming a lot every day. It was not a lot of waiting around. So that was really good because you were always involved during the day with your character and what was happening. So, any given scene we would work it, and in terms of the flow of it, in terms of the rhythm of working, it kind of seemed to take care of itself because we were always involved, and you become so familiar with the story and what happens when this is with this tanker, this is with this Russian sub, this is when he does the Phantom thing, blah 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 blah. So whether you're shooting in sequence or not, you're aware of where you are in the story. What's being called upon for your character to do.
When you look at the movie now, and I would imagine you've seen the movie, correct?
Well, I just really saw it once, and not in a big theater. I saw it. It was a screening room. It was a fairly good-sized screen, but I was kind of close to it. It was close physically to the screen. It wasn't. I didn't really have a perspective on it, so kind of looking forward to they're screening it tomorrow night at the Big Man's Chinese Theater here in Hollywood. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it on a big screen with some distance.
Yeah.
But I think it works. I'm really proud of Todd, It was this idea he'd been working on for a couple of years, and he pulled it off.
And it was shot on a real submarine?
Yeah, it was shot on a Russian sub that's in San Diego, part of a naval museum down there. It's in the water, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not, it can't be submerged, but it's it's in the water, and we shot 98% of the movie in that sub.
Wow.
And it's not very big.
But it must have been, that must have done a lot of work for you.
Well, definitely. It was great shooting in there. Can you imagine shooting in a real sub as opposed to, now we're on a sound stage in Burbank,
right.
And here's your set for the sub. It's like, no. Sorry.
Well, I wanted to ask you too about your directing, because I've loved the films that you've directed.
Yeah, well, I hope there's another one in there.
I do too.
Soon.
But I'm curious about that, because when you have to be so passionate to direct a film about and invested in the material you're working on.
Right, exactly.
So when you go from that, being kind of in charge of the whole pie, to just being an actor and being in charge of your slice, really, is that a tough adjustment?
It's a huge letdown. Well, it's not really like a letdown. It's just really different. I love the two experiences I've had directing. I've really enjoyed them, as hard as they may have been, particularly the Pollock thing. But I really want to direct more. It's just like you said. It has to touch something so deep in me. I have to, and I haven't found that thing that I want to commit myself to spending that kind of time with. I'm not, I don't consider myself a filmmaker as much as I do someone who, when he finds something he wants to make a film out of, he does it. Yeah.
Well, we spoke, I believe it was upon Appaloosa's release. We did a long conversation with Jeff Beal, and because we're crazy about film composition on the show too, and he, one of our favorite conversations, and actually that was my favorite score that year. So we've been big cheerleaders for your directorial work for a while.
All right, well, hopefully I can get one going here in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Speaking of music, Rona did really interesting. There's a thing on YouTube, Jeff Rona. If you look up Jeff Rona, whatever, Phantom, there's a little piece that somebody did of him talking about how he did the music for this film. Because he went in that sub and recorded all these sounds, clinking sounds. He was knocking on all these different kinds of things and getting all these different sounds that he kind of, put into the mix and computerized and changed around. It was kind of cool.
I saw that. That was a beautiful experiment. Last question that I'll ask you, because I know you're pressed for time, but I'm curious, since you've been doing this for so long, if acting means something different to you now than it did when you first started.
Well, I don't know if it means something different to me. I don't know. I like to think something that you just keep working at and growing with. So probably maybe a little more relaxed with it than I used to be on some level, but I don't really know. I mean, I still enjoy it. I actually really enjoy doing theater. Hope to be doing this play in New York in the fall, and so I still do enjoy it. But go ahead.
Do you feel that your process is simplified now from where it was when it started?
I just think there's less tension about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I understand what I need to do better. I don't do more than I need to do. I do what I need to do what I have to do. I don't waste energy doing it. Which doesn't mean I won't spend energy, but I just have, I think, a certain amount of confidence and trust myself in terms of preparation, that kind of thing, and the act of doing it, on the camera, in front of the camera is, it's just you just keep trying to keep probing the truth and finding ways to keep things interesting.
And what's the play you're doing next? You said you're
well, it's a new Beth Henley play called The Jacksonian that we did here, Amy, my wife, and I, and Bill Pullman.
Right.
And
yeah.
Glenn Headley. We did it at the Geffen. I think we're going to do it in New York in the fall at the Acorn Theater.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
that would be
looking
great.
forward to it. Excited about that.
Well, I appreciate your time very much, and thank you for all the great work. It means a lot to me.
Well, you're welcome, Jamie. I hope I can keep doing it for you for a number of years.